There are people in this country who spend decades of their lives curled up in darkened, silent rooms. These people are unable to sit or to stand. These people are unable to tolerate any light or any sound. These people are unable to summon the strength to speak. These people are unable to focus on or to articulate a thought. These people are in excruciating pain, and these people have never been studied. Instead, these nightmarishly ill people have been tossed into a pot with a bunch of other more mildly ill individuals whose symptoms look totally different. And this pot is what the government calls chronic fatigue syndrome. With just one exception, there has been no research published specifically on these nightmarishly ill sufferers since 1988. The research has instead been on the melting pot. Even worse, in almost all of these studies, the nightmarishly ill patients have been excluded entirely. Researchers say that it is too difficult to study patients who are nightmarishly ill, and so these patients are left out. Do the patients who have been studied have the same disease as the nightmarishly ill sufferers? Do they have something different? Since, with one exception, the nightmarishly ill sufferers have never been studied, how could we possibly know? The study that has come closest to looking at these particularly affected sufferers was published in 1992 in the Annals of Internal Medicine. The title is A Chronic Illness Characterized by Fatigue, Neurologic and Immunologic Disorders, and an Active Human Herpes Virus Type 6 Infection. The senior author was Anthony L. Komaroff, MD, of Harvard University. A total of 17 authors participated. Distinct, severe physiological abnormalities were found. The nickname for the paper is the Tahoe study. It looked at a group of patients who were so severely and bizarrely sick that they received worldwide media attention in the mid-1980s. As a result of the Tahoe epidemic, in 1988 the CDC was forced into recognizing these patients' illness. They responded with the name CFS and the melting pot definition. In a response to the Tahoe study, William Reeves of the CDC stated that the patients described seemed too ill to have CFS. 2 years later, he told the network TV program Primetime Live that the Tahoe illness must have been hysteria. This without any evidence at all. It is scientifically inappropriate to take people who are nightmarishly sick, throw them into a pot with a bunch of other people whose illnesses look totally different, study only the mildly ill people in the pot, and then conclude that the disease has no universal biomarkers and is by its nature not very serious. It also is unfair. There are more than 500 papers in the medical literature that show measurable physiological abnormalities in the melting pot of CFS. But those papers do not even begin to describe the illness endured by these nightmarishly ill sufferers. The Canadian consensus criteria is a description of these severely ill patients, as well as those with very similar but somewhat milder symptoms. It is the best that anyone is going to be able to do at this point to enable clinicians to finally begin to appropriately identify and treat these nightmarishly ill patients. We thus ask that the IOM cease its attempts to create a new definition and that the government adopt the CCC as a provisional definition until more research can be completed.